Move on now to Michaela, and you were saying this was round one, but we're not over with the performance of Nicole, unfortunately.
No, yeah, we are not quite done with that yet, Jeannie. That's a good way of saying it. This is where Jess is, St. Augustine. We're looking at the radar here. Most recent information showing us cloudy skies, but dry for St. Augustine at the moment. We're not seeing a whole lot of rainfall in that area and many areas along the east coast of Florida. Now, different story for southeast Georgia, but we're going to walk through the radar. I'm going to show you all of the first coast. Here's what we're seeing at the moment. Best news we've gotten in the last hour, that tornado watch is starting to be shaved off. Yes, there are still a few spots in coastal areas that are dealing with it, and it is still in effect till 7 o'clock, but many of us are starting to get taken out of that tornado watch. And let's kind of talk a little bit more about what we're looking at for that tornado watch. These storms out there in the Atlantic, these pockets where you're seeing the red and the orange, those are the areas that we are watching for potential tornadic activity later on tonight. Now, here's the thing. I've been telling you about it. We're worried about these storms kind of whipping around, and when they whip back around, kind of like when you whip a towel, the end of that towel snaps around. That's what we're worried about with these lines of storms. We're worried about them coming in, whipping around, and getting that little spin up within them as they come through. But you can see they're shifting a little bit further off towards the north. They're not necessarily going to come into places like Fernandina Beach and into Brunswick. More northward, think a little bit more north of Brunswick to Savannah is where we'll be seeing those lines of showers and storms passing through. So pockets of heavy rainfall, though, still coming through for southeast Georgia. Even if you have been taken out of the tornado watch, you're still dealing with very gusty winds and pockets of heavy rainfall that's causing that localized flash flooding from those outer bands of Nicole. Speaking of Nicole, well, there it is right now. Notice one or two areas of moderate rainfall as you get a little bit closer to the eye of the storm, and we're just seeing steady rain for our far western counties, but that's the rain you gotta watch out for. That's the kind of rain that will bring around that slow flood. It's not necessarily a big old downpour and you get that flash flood. This is the kind of rain that just accumulates and accumulates, and we get those backing winds that pushes water into those inlets, and this is the kind of stuff that you really got to watch out for. It's that slow creep of that water starting to rise up. So areas that have been under steady rain today, just make sure you're staying aware through tonight and into tomorrow, as you will start to see an increase in that flood risk, especially as we get closer to high tide. I'm going to walk you through when those high tides are here in just a little bit, but let's continue across the radar. Here's that band for portions of southeast Georgia, ranging from Brunswick all the way through Waycross and heading further off towards the west, towards Douglas. And that is just one band of heavy rain. A little bit of clearing to the south and a little bit of clearing to the north as those bands come through. Nassau, Duval, St. John's, you are doing okay for right now. We're mostly just dealing with cloudy skies, a little bit of blue sky trying to peek through, and those gusty winds as well. Scattered showers here and there, but most of us for our major counties, Duval, St. John's, Clay, Nassau, we are mostly dry for those areas at the moment. So there is Nicole churning the eye there, turning still well off to our south and west at the moment. Now the entire first coast still under that tropical storm warning, and we also still have those storm surge warnings out there for the coast. Now let's talk high tides. We're going to go big picture here, and we're going to tell you when we're going to be seeing our next rounds of high tide. So Jax Beach, we're expecting at about 9:25. If we could go big picture so everybody can see these times. Yeah, 9:25 tonight, Jacksonville Beach, that is your next high tide. The Main Street Bridge, 11:30 tonight. Buckman, 1:50 a.m. 9:49 p.m. for St. Augustine, 9:40 for Fernandina, Brunswick at 9:40, Shands at 2:40 a.m. That is going to be our next round where we have to watch for that next round of significant flooding across the first coast as we move into our next high tide. For many areas, that last high tide was going to be one of our worst, but still we need to make sure that we are taking the proper precautions for this next high tide that we'll be seeing for tonight. So here is a look at the 4 p.m. update from the National Hurricane Center on Nicole. This is the most recent data that we have received, and it's still saying that winds within the storm are 45 miles per hour. So again, similar to what we've been saying, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. No, it's not strengthening. no, those winds aren't weakening a whole lot either. Still moving at a great pace, 15 miles an hour towards the northwest. The pressure down to about 990 millibars there. All right, big three. We've updated them. Me and Tim kind of talked these through, and here's what we've come up with. We're still going to watch for gusts near 40 miles per hour. So if you are out on the roadways, that is still enough that you're going to be sawing on the steering wheel. If you're headed over the bridges, use extra caution. We have been dealing with wrecks all day long. If you don't have to be out on the roadways, don't be out there. We have our emergency management teams that are all over the place right now. If you could just maybe save one of those teams for people who are actually in those emergencies, that's going to be your best bet. Just hunker down for this one. Tidal waters are slowly going to drop, and then isolated severe threat is going to be coming around for that next round of wet weather, and that is going to be as we get into the day on Friday, that round 2 of strong storms that we're going to be seeing getting into Friday morning. That's the one we've been talking about. That's that next round that we're going to be seeing. So let's go through Futurecast real quick. I'm going to walk you through hour by hour what we're going to be seeing. So we're starting right around now. This model here is actually doing a pretty good job of location, intensity, timing, everything with this storm system. So I'm going to put a good amount of confidence in what this model is saying, and I've got the most updated data for you right here. The timestamp is going to be right above my head right here if you want to follow along with the time. This is 4 o'clock, so you can see this model is almost identical to what we're seeing on the radar. So good news there. Now watch as we walk through 5 o'clock. Many of us start to clear out a little bit, but remember, we're clearing out from round 1. We've got another round coming on Friday. So tonight, just scattered showers here and there. Most of us staying under those cloudy skies. Remember, the sun goes down earlier, so it's going to be dark pretty early on. If you do have to be on the roads, try to at least do it while we still have some daylight there. When it gets dark, it's going to get dangerous on those roads, even more so. 9 o'clock, scattered showers continue to come through. Not necessarily going to be a noisy night as far as thunder and lightning. Those gusty winds, though, those will bring a little bit of that noise overnight tonight. All right, 6 a.m. on Friday. If you have to go back into the office on Friday, if you're leaving early, it's going to be a messy commute. So if you can maybe work from home in the morning or just work from home at all on Friday, that's going to be probably your best bet. 6 a.m., whether you are headed west, north, or south, you're going to be dealing with wet roadways. You're going to be dealing with gusty winds. Windshield wipers will be a necessity for your commute to work on Friday morning. 8:30 a.m., pockets of heavy rainfall, gusty winds from the south and southwest, pulling in that tropical and very sticky air. Lunchtime, we'll start to see some brief clearing for our far western counties, and that's going to be the last of it. By mid-afternoon, 3 o'clock, a few scattered showers, but the last bits of Nicole start to leave our area. Yes, we'll still see a few things here and there, but most of us will start to clear out. By Friday night, skies are clear, winds die down, the rain is out of here, and that severe threat really starts to drop off. So, of course, we're going to continue to keep you updated on all things Tropical Storm Nicole throughout the rest of the evening to tonight and into tomorrow morning. Me and Tim will have all the details on your forecast.